Check 1, 2. Let's get to it. Let's get to it, baby. Hanging with B Drop Podcast, episode 115. We are in here, man. 115 episodes. It's real. It's real, baby. Happy Tuesday. Well, I don't know if I keep saying happy Tuesday, but I'm gonna just say happy day because you might be listening on a Wednesday and I don't want to throw you off. You might have a very important meeting. Anyways, man, happy day. Hopefully everybody's doing great. Hopefully you're doing awesome. I appreciate you checking out the podcast. But let's just get to it. I want to talk about a lot of stuff and I want to, not take up too much of your time, but this week had a lot of reflection and a lot of alignment. So I want to just get into it, man, and hopefully we create a beautiful conversation. Hopefully I could say some things that would maximize your life today, and we'll get to it. All right. Well, first off, let's address the elephant in the room because I know everybody knows that I love my 49ers, okay? And unfortunately, Niners weren't able to win the NFC Championship. But, but I do want to say this, all right? And I'm not going to talk about it so long because, I want to get into the other things. But I'm going to just say this, all right? I've been watching football my whole life. You know what I mean? I've been watching it since I was a little isto cagado. What that means is a little kid, all right? I've been watching football all my life, and I've been a 49er fan. Always, okay? No matter what. Even if we go 0-16, 0-17, it don't matter, okay? I'm a Niner fan to the core, okay? And this is the thing that disappoints me the most about this game. Okay. Now, Niners have lost NFC championships. We lost some playoff games. It's part of the game. But this is the thing where it leaves the what if. And I think that's the worst thing as a fan and just even someone that just enjoys the game. It's the what if. And you might be asking, what do you mean by that? What is the what if factor? The thing about this game is you're gonna watch the game. You watch the game and you go, damn, what if the quarterback didn't get hurt? What if that didn't happen? And I think it's so unfortunate that the game came down to the fourth string quarterback. And then the fourth string quarterback got hurt. And then you had Brock Purdy come in, which is the third string, and wasn't even able to throw past 10 yards. So it's like, it's just unfortunate. Like, it's just bad luck. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not going to be here and, be like, oh, I ain't going to do all that. That's not good energy. But I do want to address that I think as a fan, you go, damn, man, like, what would have happened? Because I personally think the game, I was thinking this was going to be one of the greatest game in NFL history because the two teams were so good, so stacked. You had great defenses, great offenses, and the fact that the game came down to an injury is just so unfortunate. And I think that's the part that leaves the damn, like, what if he didn't get hurt? What if, like, I was watching the game and I was like, damn, the fourth string quarterback got hurt, and you almost had to go, a running back almost had to play quarterback. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. I feel like it's happened before in a season game, but the NFC Championship is so unfortunate because you're always going to wonder what if. And, I've watched games where they go at it. I think about a game, for example, the NFC Championship with the 49ers and Seahawks where they were going at it. And the game came down to Kaepernick throwing it to Crabtree and it got deflected and it was an interception. Yeah, did it suck that your team lost? But you go, hey, but you know what? They went at it. It is what it is, right? You kind of leave the game going, damn, like, whatever. But this one is one of those where you're like, damn, we didn't even get to see uh, two drives with your quarterback, So I just want to say that. And shout out to the 49ers, man. A great season. And you look forward to next year. That's just kind of what it is. I love my team. I love the Niners. And hey, and some of y'all were trying to be cute of hitting me up after, all right? But you know what? Y'all lucky that I have a close connection with God because I was a you know what I mean? Dios mío, por favor. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get into that right now. We're gonna get into that, man. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the 49ers and the NFC Championship. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I really wanna talk about other things, and we're gonna get to it. All right. So I was watching multiple services this weekend, and there was one that I really loved a lot. I even tweeted it out on my Twitter at DJ Beat Drop. There was a lot of good stuff in there. But there was something that said spiritual transformation. And I love how that looks. So powerful. Spiritual transformation. Okay. And, you know, it's crazy because um sometimes like I could watch a lot of services and there's so much good stuff and I'm like, damn, like what can I take from this? What can I take from that? How can I, put that in my day? But something I really want to get into that he talked about, I forgot his name. Oh my god. But it's on my Twitter, you could check it out. Is my spiritual why. Um that when I saw that and when I heard this your spiritual why, I was like, damn, it really impacted me because I think we all ask ourselves why. And I always try to question myself into why am I doing this? Why am I talking to this person? Why am I doing this? I always want to ask my why into everything. Not where I'm overthinking or anything like that, but I always want to say, why am I doing this? And when he said your spiritual why, it kind of unlocked a different, it did something for me, and not where I'm like, oh, I have it all figured out. Nothing like that. But it made me think a lot about my why into why I'm doing things. For example, he said a joke, and I was like, damn, that's funny. And it made me question myself too, where he was like, why do you want to work out? Right? It's like, do you want to work out because he said something like, do you want to get into a bikini? And then I started laughing because I started thinking about myself. I said, when I work out, do I want to do it so that I could get affirmation from other people? Do I want to feel validated by if I post a picture of my amazing body? I started asking myself that. And now where I started kind of having like a self-sabotage moment, but it was one of those where I started thinking like, well, why do I want to work out? Is it because I want to be extremely healthy so that I could, play with my son? Is it so that I could be extremely healthy so that I'm able to record the podcast and be able to have an intention into what I'm doing? And I started really thinking about that. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because I feel like sometimes we get into things, we say yes to things, we just start doing them, all of these things, and we don't even remember why we start doing them or why we do this, and we could get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? So I think the workout one was something that stood out to me because I started thinking about it myself, where I was like, why do I post this? Why do I post that? And then I was like, you know what? Like then I just started kind of questioning everything that I do. Why do I talk to this person? Why am I doing this podcast? Is it what God has? Is it God's purpose for me? So I think that's something good to go into this week, is to think about why are you doing things? Why am I doing this? And I think it unlocks something for me that I'm excited to get into more, because I feel like we always kind of question it, right? Like, what is your why? But the spiritual why was a different. It was just something different for me because I want God to work through me. Does that make sense? I feel like sometimes we could do things because I'm like, oh, it's my why, it's my purpose. But is it really, right? Like, is it really what we're supposed to be doing? Or is it because we want to feel good about ourselves? We want to feel good doing the things that we're doing. It creates a validation for us rather than God's spiritual why. Okay, so I think I'm gonna let y'all sit on that, but I think that's very powerful. And something that I wanted to talk about is a realignment with God. And I know you guys are probably thinking like, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I know you guys are probably thinking like, damn, B, like recently you've been talking a lot about God. You've been talking about this, and I'm gonna explain why. Okay, I'm gonna explain the spiritual why. Nah, I'm gonna explain why. Okay, so just to give you guys a little background, like I've always been a man of faith, always loved my Diosito, right? And let me take a little sip. Hold on, I'm a little thirsty. Oh, that's beautiful. I remember there was a point in my life a few years ago where, and I feel like maybe some of you guys could relate to this, where we pray for something and we tell God, like, God, if you come through for me in this moment, I promise I'll stop doing this, or I promise I'll be more faithful, or I promise that, I'm gonna do this, right? I feel like we've all done it. I'm guilty of it. I remember a point in my life a few years ago, there was something that was very tough for myself. And I remember I prayed, I said, God, if you heal this person, if you help this person, I promise that, I'm a I forgot the promise I made, right? But I remember I said something along the lines of like, I promise that I'll be more closer. I did all these things. And interesting, it never happens on your time, it happens on God's time. And I remember a gradual build into where I felt that, God put his hands on my concern. It's crazy that when you get what you prayed for, when God hooks you up, you forget to check in with him, right? And I think that tends to happen sometimes, where it's like you pray for something, and when God comes through, um there's this weird way where you kind of forget, or you're not as consistent with checking in with God, or you're not or at some point you think it's you, right? Like sometimes we could get big headed and think like, oh, it's me, I did that, or oh, was it? But it's like, nah, it's always been God. So there's been this thing for me where I'm like, man, I need to have a better realignment with God, not just when things are going tough, even when things are going great or mid, whatever. When things are going the way that the way that God sees it for me, I'm always had to be closer with God, and I think that's something that I've noticed the past several weeks and months, is that sometimes I go like I could pray for something, and um when things are tough, you kind of start questioning God a lot. You feel me? I know I do that. Like when things are going tough, I question God, but when things are going great, it's like, oh, great, I'm in a good place, right? So that's something that I just kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, because I was like, um I feel like we all need a alignment sometimes. I know we all go through little funks, we all go through little situations, and um this weekend I was at the park, and I was talking to somebody, and she was telling me about, just about her kids, and we were just having a cool conversation. And after I stopped talking to her, like a few hours later, I was thinking, I was like, it's crazy how we all have like things that we're dealing with, right? Like we all have these problems, whether it's financial, relationships, with yourself, with your kids, it's just anything. Like you're everybody's going through their own um problems, and not that anybody's problem is bigger than the other one, because it could be where somebody's like, oh, that's how you're going through, like, what about me, bro? I just lost my job. Or that's how you're going through, bro. Like and it's like, after that, I had that conversation, I was thinking a lot. I was just like, man, like, how can I um continue my life being there for other people, right? Like how can I really work through God to love people, right? And I think they say like, what is the most, I don't know if it's the most important command, or I forgot what exactly the question is, but it's like asking God like, what's most important to faith, and it's like, love God first and love your neighbor. And I think I was really thinking about that a lot this weekend. Like this, just going into the week, I was like, man, like, how can I do my best to be there for other people? And sometimes we want to do the bare minimum, right? Like we just like somebody's picture, or just say what sounds good. That's just been my process, man. Having this realignment with God, where you want to just be the best version of yourself, but also be the best version of yourself for other people. um, and just show people that they're important. Show people that no matter what they're going through, this too shall pass. Um, that's just kind of been my process this weekend, and also just making sure that my energy is going to the right things, man. I was talking to my homie on the phone. He actually called me today, and we were just talking about like this and that, and just catching up. And he was telling me like, hey, I haven't been on social media. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. What made you want to do that? And he was just like, hey, I just, it could be a lot and this and that. I don't want to see this. And I was like, man, that's crazy, because even myself, I was talking to another friend and I was telling her, I was like, man, like, I want to do my best to also like, you know, focus on what my intention, like where is my intention, where's my energy going to. And um that's been huge for me this week, and that's something I really want to get into this week, is where am I putting my energy to? How can I maximize my life? How can I show people that love me and that I love, that they're important to me? And that's been my process, man. And since I want to say to the people that I care about, shout out to my guy Pinky, man. He actually reached out to me this week, when I recorded the podcast about making sure Jacob was cool, and everything's great, Pinks. I love you, my boy. Want to give you a shout out because you've always supported me from the jump. You know, even when you've driven me to gigs and everything, man. So I want to just tell you, man, I love you, bro, and hopefully you and your queen are doing great. Praying for a beautiful, beautiful relationship moving forward. You know, we pray for love here, you know. But I hope everybody's doing great, man. And I hope that with this episode, you reach out to someone that you care about. You reach out to someone that you love. I always say this, but it's like tomorrow's never promised. I just have always said that. Um, you know, and one thing that I've heard Gary Vee said is not living with regret. And I think sometimes we have such you know, we think that we don't have an expiration date. You know, we think that, oh, I'll do it tomorrow or a week or 2 weeks. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, you never know what people are going through. And I think one thing for myself is I really want to do my best to check in with people. That's been a big focus for me. Going into this week is how can I check in with people even when they show that they don't want to be reached out to. So many people are going through situations that they won't talk about. Either they're embarrassed. You know, we have this, you know, I'm okay. I'm all right. You know? So I think for me, how can I, you know, really be a good friend to people? How can I work through God? And I was having a conversation with someone and I was like, how do you feel like you hear God? Like, how do you feel God talks to you? Right? Because I feel like sometimes we do something where like we pray, right? Like I'll say something and I'm like, where's the sign? You know, or where's that text? Where's this and that, right? Like it's like we want it to happen like immediately, right? Like, you know, I know God talks to me through people, and I was like, that's pretty cool, right? Because sometimes it's like you might be going through something, and someone could just reach out of nowhere, or you get that text, and you're like, damn, everything's gonna be okay. I challenge you this day is to be there for other people. I know we live in the world where, you know, we encourage everything is about us and about ourselves, and you know, do whatever makes whatever, man. In the end of the day, I feel like God put us in a place to be there for other people and to obviously love who you are, love who you're becoming, but also be there for other people because I think that's what creates a great community. That's what creates just love. That's what makes people happy. I feel like no one should feel loneliness. I think that, you know, we could all do something great today if we put the intention of being the best version of ourselves and to have God work through us. I think we'll end it like that. You know, appreciate everybody that listens. Love you guys. And I hope you have a great day. Y'all take it easy. Appreciate y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Remember, I always say this: love, peace, joy, faith, and creativity. Let's live like that today. And appreciate everybody, man. Love you guys. Have a good one, man. Peace.